making quinoa on the stove is really easy. The biggest thing is just remembering the ratio. 1 part of uncooked quinoa to 2 parts of water. Here I have half of a cup, or about 94 grams of uncooked quinoa. As you can see, it looks like little beads or large grains of sand. And in this pot on the stove, I have 1 cup, about 194 grams of water. And to the water, I added a dash of salt and a dash of black pepper, and max 1/8 of a teaspoon each. So whenever you make quinoa on the stove, you want 1 part of the raw quinoa to 2 parts of water. So for example, if you're making double this, you want to make 1 cup of uncooked quinoa, you need 2 cups of water. I know this doesn't look like a lot of quinoa, but it about doubles once it's cooked. So if you want 1 cup of cooked quinoa, you need to make half of a cup of raw quinoa. This water I'm bringing to a boil. I'm going to turn up the heat now. And it's really easy to make quinoa on the stove. Once this water comes to a boil, all I'm going to do is I'm going to dump the raw quinoa into the water, mix it a little bit just to make sure that it's all evenly distributed. Then I will cover it and I will turn the heat down to low, gas mark 2 out of 6. 1 is the lowest on my stove, so it's the second to lowest flame temperature. And I'm going to cover it, leave it covered for 10 minutes, and then when the 10 minutes are up, I will turn off the heat and then let it sit for maybe 5 to 10 more minutes, and it should be ready. As you can see, this is coming to a boil really quickly. I have white quinoa, but it also comes in red and black varieties, which I have yet to try. Quinoa has a nutty flavor similar to brown rice, so if you like brown rice, I think you'll like this. Now, as you can see, this water is boiling now. Nice bubbles. I'm just going to pour in my quinoa. I'm going to stir it around to make sure it's evenly coated. And now there are some quinoa bits on my knife. Quinoa, the raw quinoa, is actually kind of sticky if it's wet, so just be aware of that. Now I'm going to turn it down to gas mark 2 out of 3, or excuse me, 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6. I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. You do not have to stir this while it's cooking. You just have to leave it. Some things I did want to point out, like I said, the raw quinoa is sticky. Here's a piece of raw quinoa that's stuck on the spoon. So if you are measuring out your quinoa, make sure that the container is dry. Because if this container is wet, your quinoa is going to stick to it and it's going to be a big mess, or as the Argentines would say, a big quilombo. Another thing I wanted to point out is that this quinoa, on the bag it says pre-washed. If yours does not say pre-washed, you're going to want to rinse it off first, because if you do not, it will taste bitter. My guess is that in the United States, most quinoa that's not sold in bulk is probably going to be pre-washed, but be sure to read the label. What else is there to say? You could use a different type of liquid. You could use vegetable stock, maybe chicken stock. I have not done that, but I'm sure that's an option. Like I said, making quinoa on the stovetop is quick and easy. It's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to turn off the heat and let's take a look inside. Put this over here, it's kind of hot. So I wanted to show you the difference in texture. See if you can see this. The raw quinoa, remember how it looked kind of like large grains of sand or pebbles? This quinoa looks different. This quinoa is popped. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but once it pops like that, it looks like a dark center and then, or a light center and then a dark circle around it with another light circle around it. That's the popped quinoa, and that tells you that it's done. So if you've never made quinoa before, or if you forgot to set the timer, which has happened to me as well, once it looks like that, and not just a few pieces of the quinoa, but all the quinoa looks like that, you know it's done. I also wanted to show you, let's see if I can bring you in a little bit closer. What it looks like down here. So there's a little bit of water left in the bottom of the pan, just a tad, or maybe I'll bring it up just a little bit. You may be tempted to keep cooking it, but see, just a little bit of water there. I think it's picking it up on the camera there, just a little bit. That's okay, because what we're gonna do now is, once it's done, like I just showed you, I took off the top and I fluffed it with my spoon or a fork, something like that, just stir it. Now I'm going to put the top back on for probably 5 to 10 more minutes. And once that 5 to 10 minutes is up, all that water will be gone. Either it will have evaporated or it will have been absorbed into the quinoa. So, actually I'm gonna not have it bunched up like that. I'm gonna try and keep it somewhat flat, like it was. There. So, like I said, in 5 to 10 minutes, I will come back and all the water will have either evaporated or been absorbed. Another thing you could do with the quinoa is you could toast it. What I have done is, with this same amount of quinoa, I put, I think it was 2 teaspoons of oil into the pan first, and then I turned on the heat to medium, 3 out of 6. I heated up the oil for about 45 seconds to a minute. Then I added the quinoa and I stirred it over medium, maybe medium-high heat for 5 minutes. The color changed from that white gray to a golden brown. Some of the quinoa was kind of a dark brown. It really started smelling nutty, and then I added 1 cup of water, brought it to a boil, and cooked it for 10 minutes, treating it exactly like the non-toasted quinoa. Honestly, I think it's been about 15 minutes or so since I turned off the heat and I fluffed up the quinoa, and then I put the top back on this pot on the stove. Let's take a peek. Nice. Most of the water, maybe not all of it that was on the bottom of the pan, but most of the water that was still coating the quinoa has evaporated. If you want to, you can leave it uncovered now and let it dry even more, but I'm just going to serve it. Like I said, it's very similar to brown rice. So if you like brown rice, you will like this quinoa. And also remember how I said that it was going to puff up a lot and increase in volume significantly. That has happened. I haven't even scooped all of it. I'll keep scooping. If you are going to make a salad with this, there are a lot of recipes like quinoa and black bean salad. I am going to do some of those recipes, so stay tuned. If you're going to make one of those salad recipes, I would put this on a plate and spread it in a thin layer so that it could dry a little bit quicker. But if you're just looking for a quick side for dinner or lunch, chicken, something like that, and you're tired of brown rice, you want something gluten-free, want something unique, try making some quinoa on the stove. it's delicious.
As you can see, learning how to make quinoa on the stove is really easy. It's healthy and delicious, so if you like brown rice but you're looking for a change, be sure to give quinoa a try. You will soon be seeing some cold quinoa salads on my channel that I saw on Argentine social media sites, so get ready. I'm sure you'll really enjoy them. Once those salad recipe videos are up, I will put links in the description box. Until then, see you next time. Bye!